think if you're passionate about it, I think that's going to lead you in the direction that you want to go. I think that's kind of what, and I get that this sounds very stereotypical too, but like the reason that I was good at my job and why my boss thought that I was good at my job was because I loved video games, right? Like I played video games. And so when we were doing promotions for video games, I was able to be like, oh, I play that and I think this would be cool and blah, 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 and like run him through it, right? That was one thing that he really liked. So passionate people, I think, will always kind of get where they need to go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of StreamKey. What a start. What a start. You already saw all of our faces already. But we got two amazing guests today. We have Play with Jambo returning. She was on here a few weeks ago. You guys remember Jambo?
No, I wasn't.
All right. And we also have Rob Busey, one of our friends. We've known him for a minute. He works for Twitch Prime. So starting with Rob Busey, who are you? How can people find you? And what do you stream, my guy?
I'm Rob Busey, obviously, because he said it like 15 times.
There you go.
My channel is literally twitch.tv/Rob Busey. So it's really easy to find. And I stream right now a lot of Borderlands 3 because I just love looter shooters. So that's my thing right now.
All right. Let's play with Jambo. Tell us about yourself.
I am a variety streamer still, even since the last time I was on here a couple weeks ago. We still play a lot of Skyrim and we still have a lot of fun. So you can find me at twitch.tv/playwithjambo.
There you go. And then we have Sadomi, as always, the amazing co-host.
No, you're an amazing co-host.
No, you.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. I won't argue. Where can people find you, man?
Film me at twitch.tv/Sadomi. I'm the host of the Sadomi Show, and we talk about industry topics about the streaming and the gaming world. And today we're going to talk about E3 later. So if you're interested in that, come on by. Boom.
There you go. Real quick, I wanted to give Robu a quick chance to talk about Twitch Prime a little bit for you guys, since he does work for Twitch Prime. You want to just tell everybody about the things going on that you can talk about?
Oh my gosh. You're like putting me on the spot. I told you I didn't want to do the sales pitch. I feel like everybody knows actually, the Twitch Prime team pays me in Twitch Prime subs. So if you could just go to the they actually do pay me
to any channel.
Yeah. They actually lock me in a cage, keep me by my desk, and they just like replace the water in my water bottle every once in a while.
That's generous of them, really.
Yeah. But if you want to go get like Destiny loot or Borderlands loot, because again, I like looter shooters, you should go do that because that's available. But that's all. Yeah, that's all I've got. I'm not going to turn this into the Twitch Prime show because there's actually.
I thought you were taking over. I thought this was your show now. No?
Oh, we can do that like, if you want.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So next week it'll be Robu on here instead of me. Yeah. But anyway, so a few topics that we have for today. First one is Shroud reaches 1 million followers on Mixer. I hope you're okay, Jambo. Yeah, but Shroud reaches 1 million followers on Mixer. Pretty cool. Obviously, he had more than that on Twitch, but it's cool to see him gaining some sort of following on Mixer, even though obviously his numbers aren't quite as there. Anybody have anything to say about this particular thing?
Good for him.
Nope. There you go. Awesome.
Yeah. He was, like I said, with again with Mixer, he's not worried about his follow counts, his people showing up there. Like he has payday, he can do what he wants to do on his stream. He has his brand going. His YouTube's still popping off the same as it was. So
yeah, he's getting paid for sure. He's not worried about it.
Yeah.
I feel like any streamer that's moved over to Mixer understands that they're going to have a drop in something, be it viewership, followers, subs, what have you. So to see that like some of his stats have dropped isn't really a surprise.
Right.
And I don't think it's a surprise to him either. Like there's a reason that they moved over. They had to weigh the pros and cons. Clearly there was enough incentive to move to Mixer for them to go. Ninja, Goth, Shroud, whoever. There's something in their contract that makes it worthwhile to be permanent and basically salaried to another streaming platform. So I mean, his average viewership dropping or his follower count not being where it was is to be expected because your entire community is not going to follow you to a new platform. And that's the truth of it for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next topic we have is Drake will stream exclusively on Caffeine. There's no word on any video game content. From what it seems like it's going to be rap battles and a way to showcase new artists. So it's still, it's not necessarily like the type of streaming that one would assume, but cool for Caffeine, I guess, for picking up Drake. Obviously he's a big name, so we'll have to see where that goes and see if Twitch decides to follow along with that trend. Anybody got anything about this one?
So Caffeine, I was looking on this earlier, I think last week, and Caffeine's doing this thing where they're not trying to capture the gaming streaming market, which is smart of them because they have way too much competition and they are pretty much unknown. And you can see by, like I said, when you sign Drake, when you sign Juju Webster, when you sign a bunch of other celebrities in that manner, that's different than the people you'll find on Twitch. People differently find people on Mixer. So again, they're trying to corner a different market than Twitch. And if people understand that, then I think Caffeine will do fine in its niche. But if you've been to the website and seen their UI, I think it's horrible. It's garbage. Yep. It is a bright, hot mess. I've seen pastels. It looks like I'm at a rave party. And I dark mode couldn't save it. So it's just, I don't know, man. They got to fix that. Otherwise, I think it might be able to find their niche. And that might be the only thing going for them at the moment.
Right. Rob, it looked like you were about to say something.
No, I agree completely with Sadomi. When I first saw the article, I was like, okay, I didn't really care. I was like, if it's going to be about Drake gaming, I don't care. I do not want to watch Drake game. Right, back in the day, I was a huge Tupac fan. I wouldn't want to watch Tupac play video games on a streaming platform. The moment he starts playing a game, starts getting bodied, I'm just gonna leave, right? but the fact that Drake is largely going to be doing exactly what he's known for, I think makes a lot of sense, right? I would totally watch Tupac do rap battles or Eminem do rap battles. That
would be sweet.
Right? I would totally watch. Cool. I would totally watch Drake do rap battles, but I don't want to watch Drake play Fortnite. If I'm going to. Whenever I would watch Twitch, even back in the day when it was still Justin TV, the people that I watched play games were the people that were playing it at a master's level, right? I wanted to watch them to get strategies. And that was basically why I was there, to get better, learn their strategies, learn their builds, do whatever, right? But like Sadomi said, I think they have their niche. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that works. And I think the main thing with celebrities and the difficulty of streaming content with celebrities is they have crazy schedules. Their schedules are all over the place, right? And it's very hard to coordinate that stuff, which is, I think, another part of the reason why in that article they mentioned that he's going to be using his channel to basically bring in new artists and show them off, right? I have a feeling that a lot of that is going to be, whenever Drake isn't available and stuff like that, right? Because he's off doing a tour or whatever,
doing Drake stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing too I found weird was that they didn't give Drake his handle of Drake. It's the boy. I'm not sure if that's part of his normal branding. Is it? Or if just they just didn't use his, because I feel his name, just saying this is Drake's channel, because they're gonna kick off any pub who has a name Drake. Sorry, if your name is Drake, we're emailing, you're changing your name. No, TOS, term of service, or change your name. We told you to. So they could have gotten it, but why did they pick the boy and not Drake? I don't really get that, but I'm assuming there's a reason for it somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never I don't know too much about Drake, so I don't know if the boy is anything significant. So, Jambo.
I honestly, I feel if you're trying to start a streaming platform right now, you're just going to have a bad time. So sign as many rappers as you possibly can. I don't know why you're trying to do that. I don't understand. I really don't. And that's not to say it can't be successful. Anything can be successful, but to try and start a streaming platform in a world where Twitch and Mixer are alive, I don't know why you're trying to do that. So have fun with Drake and all of your rap battles. But I kind of agree. I agree with Rob. I wouldn't want to watch Drake play Fortnite, just like I wouldn't want to watch Ninja have a rap battle. So
I'd watch the rap battle though.
Well, yeah, but are you watching it because you would enjoy it, or are you watching it because it's Ninja doing a rap battle?
Bro, memes.
Right. Exactly.
Bro, meats.
No, listen.
Oh my god. All right, so we all want to see Drake play Fortnite is what I'm gathering. Awesome.
Yeah.
So next topic we have is YouTube is bringing in a new feature called clapping, which makes it so viewers can donate to creators. They can do this also apparently on recorded content and not just live content, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a very like select thing that's going on right now, probably only for like some of the top tier channels. But pretty cool that, you know, they're adding more ways for content creators to get, you know, to earn a living. Any of you guys read anything about this? Have anything to say?
I mean, I think it's great. I think that being said, YouTube has been very questionable as of late. So I hope that this isn't something that's going to come back to bite people in the ass. That's all. I mean, it's awesome that they're giving more ways for creators to earn from their audience. But I don't trust anything that YouTube's really doing right now. So
yeah, it does seem like another thing to get demonetized in the future. So another topic we have is
moving on.
This guy the guy from last week who wanted $10 an hour to continue streaming. I can't remember. It's Wings something. I don't want to say his whole name because I feel like he doesn't. Damn it. But instead of $10 an hour, he wants $25 an hour now to keep streaming, which is just ridiculous. I feel like if you're like leaving your chat hostage like this, like donate to me or I'm done streaming, like you're kind of.
Let's just address this for a quick second.
Yeah.
So let's say you're streaming for 4 hours and you tell your chat, listen, give me $10 an hour or I'm done. You really want to make $40 that day, enough to make your chat do that? I feel like if you address it that way, like you aren't going to get it, right? But like if you're a genuine awesome person, there's a good chance that if your content is what it should be, that you're going to make well over that in a stream. That's not to say like people have to give you anything. They don't, but to definitely tell them, hey, you have to, or I'm fucking done. I can't imagine like telling my chat, listen, give me $25 between now and 4 p.m. or I'm I would want to end. I would want them to end. Like I don't. It's fine. I don't care.
And then it seems like the streamer's not even having fun. They're just doing it waiting for the money. And so I'm not going to stick around for a stream that's like that. What do you guys have?
I mean, if the viewers find enjoyment in it somehow, I guess, then you probably get some kind of value. Like, Brian's, people have all kinds of weird interests and likes. Some people like being yelled at to like pay me right now. Like, there's whole fetishes and kinks for that.
I agree. There is a kink for everything.
So don't ever be surprised at someone like doing something. With that being said,
yeah.
With that being said, again, like I said, if you have the monetization platforms open and you have something that are delivering value, then you could probably make that $10 a little bit easier and not have as much like negative press around you. And also, if we're talking about it, that's how the internet works. If we're talking about it, you get press, and press is all attention is attention, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of becoming his brand now, right?
Yeah,
sure. You get ass and asking for donations, like that's his thing. Like, to be honest, like he just seems kind of miserable in a way.
He really does.
Like, just like you make better content when you enjoy what you're doing, right? Like you're playing games, you're having fun, you're being entertaining. Like that's the thing you're doing, right? If you're doing it strictly for the money and you're getting pissed off because you're not getting donations, like maybe you just need to find something else, right? Like, it's just, I don't enjoy that type of content. I don't like watching someone rage and scream and like cry about it. Like, when you're watching somebody be that type of person, usually their chat also reflects that. So I don't know if I want to be around that, right? So like maybe he should just go back to YouTube because he was successful doing that, right? Like he was successful making videos for Call of Duty Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's people that are hugely successful on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned a really good thing there about how he seems like he's miserable. I've talked about this before. Like, I've had friends that are full-time streamers, and then they get too wrapped up in how much money they're making in one day, and those people aren't streaming anymore. Like, they're not just not streaming full-time anymore. They're just done streaming now. You know what I mean? Because that burnout is so real when you focus on one thing, which, you know, like, you can't control. You have no control over how much money you make. So if you focus too much on that, it's just going to be a bad time for sure. So, next topic we have is, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is a lot like, that girl who was complaining about not getting, enough subs per stream. Because, like, it's been an hour and I haven't gotten a single sub. It's right. I get that sometimes maybe I'm going to say, to play benefit of the doubt, devil's advocate, maybe it's a gimmick, right? Maybe if you're not a part of their community and you hear it maybe like out of context, it's something different. But then you would also want to think like that person would come out and say something if that were the case.
Right.
Like, if it is a thing, like if he's playing games and he's like, oh, give me $25 and I'm not going to keep streaming. Like, maybe, I don't know. I try to look at it from both sides because it's like, I can't remember who here just said it, but maybe it is something like, maybe it's part of their content or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money doing content creation at all.
Right.
However, if you're shaking down your chat and taking their wallets as your own, then I believe that there is a bit of a morality issue there.
Oh, for sure.
Or the stream gets it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ransoming off your Twitch chat isn't really the best play by any means.
Yeah, and on the long term, it doesn't look good for the platform in general. Because, like I said, out of context, it's really bad. And we all know the internet does not care about context. They care about what's clippable, what is shareable, what is enraging, what is important. So even if you kind of look at it in a kayfabe kind of way, if you guys are familiar with wrestling, the concept of kayfabe, as in your wrestling persona is with you throughout your entire life. You are your wrestling persona, so you don't hide that. So even this is like their inside joke, their inside persona, their inside brand. It's not necessarily good looking for outside viewers who are like, hey, this is a Twitch streamer, give me money.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make us look better.
And doesn't really want to make it doesn't make other content creators want to like make content with you or network with you at all, because you do not like I don't want to be associated with that kind of behavior by any means. Like, even if you're a really good friend, if I see you doing that on your stream, I'm probably not going to show up to your stream because I can't get behind anything like that.
Yeah, Val, you can't come back to my stream unless you give me $25.
No, I understand. I get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I totally get it. Next topic we have is Twitch streamer explains that most popular personalities on Twitch are quote unquote faking it, putting on an act, just being fake versions of themselves, putting on a show, I guess. I have my own things about this. I wanted to hear what you guys had to say about it. Like, I don't know who the streamer is. I don't think it showed their name or anything. I don't know how successful the streamer is on Twitch or anything, but what do you guys have to say about this topic?
There's a difference between being fake and just trying to be entertaining.
Right.
Like those are two completely different things. Like, you do not want to watch me when I'm actually playing games by myself. Like, this is the face I'm making the entire time.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, watch that. Like, just me sitting there making a terrible face. Like, that's basically what I look like when I play games. But like, when you actually come to my channel and watch me play games, it's basically an exercise in me like talking to myself or talking to somebody else. Maybe like I liven myself up a little bit because like, otherwise, like I said, yeah, exactly. But like, there's a far great like just divide between trying to be entertaining because you realize that, hey, my normal self is a normal person, isn't terribly entertaining. Like, and I think we all do it to a certain degree. Like, anybody that's worked a retail job has learned to like put on the smile and be a different kind of person for your job. And I think that's no different, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about this. I have a lot of feelings on this too. Like Val said, I feel like there are some people who just think that we are as animated as we are playing games by ourselves than like as we are on stream. I don't sit there when I'm playing Skyrim screaming at Serana at the top of my lungs because she's being an idiot. That's something that you do to interact with your chat, because if people just sit and watch you play a game, unless you are fucking Shroud or Summit, like nobody is sitting there watching you stare at a screen.
Right.
And you're going to be successful. It's just not true. There's a difference between being on and being fake. And that's something that's why streamers talk about burnout, to kind of like bring that in. If you're on all the time, you're going to burn yourself out, which is why taking time off of stream is good. That's not being fake. And there was a big issue with this on Twitter and streamer Twitter, TM. Back like a month or so ago, there was a streamer who posted something saying that if you want to be successful, you have to lie and you have to be fake because people don't appreciate transparency. It's not true. That's not true at all.
Who said that?
I'm not going to name drop.
Do it right now.
No. I'll put it in. I'll put it in here. Yep.
Sadomi, you got anything on this one, my dude?
So my core like thought of this is just we're entertainers. Yeah, sure. Maybe Jim Carrey is like funny as heck in real life too, but like when he's on stage or playing in a movie, he's going to be different than how you expect him. Like when you're walking around, that's just human nature. Humans have different mindsets for things. This is how the brain works. Like for instance, when I'm in an athletic competition, I'm a jerk. I'm horrible. I'm aggressive. I'm angry. When I'm with people I care about, I'm nice, sweet, and gentle. And when I'm trying to like learn something, I'm focused and like dialed in, and I'm very well spoken. Like it's, and everyone like different. Everyone's different, and that's how the humans work. Of course, everyone's going to be fake. There's no such thing as someone being fake. It's someone just being in a different mindset, because the brain is still a muscle, and the muscles that can teach itself how to move in different ways based on situations. We are that evolved as creatures. So if you ever think someone is being fake, realize that guess what? We're humans. That's just normal.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my mom is here. Can you say hi?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Wow.
To me, this guy seems right. I hope she feels welcomed.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Mom. All right, moving on.
Sorry, I just wanted to go back. Like, he just seems like a dude that's trying to have a hot take that, that hot of a take. Yeah, not even that new. I also love that, he wanted to try to call people out, but then didn't name any names at the time. Right. And he was also like in a chat of a guy that's known for being a troll. Like I used to watch Destiny's like StarCraft streams when that's all he did was troll people with infested Terrans. Like that was all he did. He just pissed people off on purpose. Like, come on. Like,
I'm not going to tell you who I'm talking about, but it rhymes with Binja.
Wonder what that is. I don't know. He seems like one of those people who's just jealous that people are getting more success than he is, and so he's just finding something to complain about. It's the same thing as like, oh, booby streamers are taking all of my viewers, or ninjas taking all my viewers, all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just another version of somebody being jealous that they don't have the success that other people do. When instead they could
check marks away if they haven't been streaming.
Those people need to shut up. Those people really need to shut up.
There was this one time a couple years ago, someone, I don't know if anybody would remember this or not, probably not, but somebody posted on Twitter like, Dr. Disrespect is fake. And I remember reading that tweet like, yes,
right. No, that's how he is all the time.
That's his real name.
First name Doctor, last name Disrespect.
I just
got his PhD in disrespect.
Trying to call people out for like who they are on stream, and they know who they are on stream. That's who they are. Now there is something to be said though about, because kind of on the same note, there are people who manipulate on stream to become successful, or people who falsify their viewership. Like there are fake people out there, but that's not to say that when you're on stream you're fake. The organic growth and growing transparently and as who you genuinely are, it does take a longer time to grow. And that's true, because you're not using and manipulating people. You're doing it on your own terms in your own way. So it does take longer, but that's not to say that everyone who turns on a camera is fake. I mean, what do you want? What do you want to see? And this guy reminds me of like a wannabe Keemstar.
Yeah, but
way less successful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way less successful at being an ass, which is just crazy to me.
Oh, sorry. It rhymes with Reamstar.
Yes.
Sorry.
Which is much more graphic. Want to point that out there.
All right.
G13.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to point out that while we're talking about
banned from Twitch now.
Yeah, I love it.
Having Twitch staff on here did not help at all.
While we're talking about being fake or being manipulative, I only have like 180 followers, and I'm on the Twitch Prime team. Okay,
Wow.
Oh,
yeah, get this guy some more followers.
Because I only stream like
For real.
once a month. Thanks, Job.
Thanks, Job, who pays my bills, gives me food. How dare!
You should just ask your chat for $25 an hour.
Oh my god,
It's the new thing.
Yeah, then you won't have to work.
Yep. And then when they don't sub, just be like, you guys clearly don't respect me as a content creator because you guys aren't subbing to my channel. Oh god. I think I just killed Jambo, but that's all right.
you just inhaled her entire monster. She is asphyxiating on her monster right now.
I have lungs now.
Awesome. Okay, so I have a couple questions for you guys now. Starting with Jambo. How did you this is for both of you, but we'll start with Jambo. How did you guys start your career paths on what you're doing? You know, Jambo being a full-time streamer with an amazingly supportive community, obviously, and then Rob working at Twitch Prime after being an indie game developer. So starting with Jambo, tell us a little bit about.
Yeah. So I have been a viewer on Twitch since the Justin TV days. I've had multiple different accounts because there was a point where I thought about trying it like forever ago, and then I didn't. And I made a new account, and that was back when I decided to actually take the jump. And that account was Jamie Bobamy. And I don't know if anybody in here would remember that, but that was how I started streaming. I was in a very manipulative, abusive relationship that I was kind of like strapped down. I wasn't able to stream. He didn't want me to be on Twitch because he was, I don't know what it was. He just didn't want me to be. So I started trying to stream off of Xbox when he wasn't home. When he was at work, I was just trying it out with like friends in chat. My mod in here, Maeve, would sit with me and play through games so I could kind of get used to it. And then finally ended that relationship, and I took the plunge into streaming in 2017. I had a full-time job all the way through that. I had been streaming after work. I was trying to make it work and trying to figure out what I wanted it to be. Fast forward about 2.5 years, I lose my job. Back this past September. And after a couple months of after I was in the hospital for a little while, it was kind of a mess. I made the decision that I was going to continue to stream because there was a point where I thought about quitting because I just couldn't be consistent. I felt like I was depressed. I was struggling really hard with mental balance. And I made the plunge to stream again on November 2nd. And in the month of November, went from 74 subscribers to 3,500. And that was the jump start of what is now my everyday job. And I stream full time.
Well, there you go. What do you think is like obviously it's hard to pinpoint, the exact reasons for things. But what do you think is one of the things that sets you apart from other streamers that allowed something like this to happen?
Transparency.
Okay.
So when people say that nobody prefers that. That's not true. The more that you can show people that they can relate to you, and the more that you show your true self to them and being vulnerable, the better off you're going to be, because not only are you going to grow organically as yourself, but you're going to grow with other people, and you're going to create a community of people who can depend on each other and support each other, which is what you want. Twitch is about community, and that's what we've done. I believe, and this is not just a biased standpoint, I really do believe that the community that we've built is different, and it's something unique and special, and I'm very excited to see where we go this year, even though my mom tried to put me down this morning and tell me it's only February and things can get worse.
I mean, she's not wrong. So, like you said, transparency is a big factor in this. Is this something that you've always been doing, or is this something that just happened, around the month of November of last year that just kind of started to work out for you? You know what I mean? Like, were you always this transparent, or?
I've always been transparent, but this past year was very hard. 2019 was just a very rough year all the way around, from beginning to, November. But I decided when I started streaming again, I was going to open up about everything, because I had kept things to myself because I didn't want to burden anyone. But I realized that in doing that, I was stunting what I believed in, which was transparency and realism. And I opened up about everything. I cried on stream. I had a total breakdown. I talked about my engagement ending. I talked about the move. I talked about losing my job, the hospital visit. And I feel like it resonated with so many people, because everybody has those problems. And there are so many streamers who put on this facade of everything is great all the time, and I'm happy constantly, and I'm a really positive place for you to be, but that's not life, and that's not what people need. So I, as scary as it was, did open up about absolutely everything, and I don't know what about it changed things, but I felt so confident going into every stream from that point forward, because there was no longer that weight on my shoulders. It was all out there. Everyone knew what happened. Everybody was there to support me and be a friend. My community paid or helped pay for my hospital bills. They supported me in so many ways and have allowed me to take this on as a career. And I did it as me, not as who they want me to be, not as who I think they want me to be, as me, faults and all. And I could not be prouder of where we are and who they are and who I get to be every day.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, clearly it's done really well for you, and it's obviously, like you said, it's made you happier as a person and more confident as a streamer. So that makes a lot of sense. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you.
So Robu, or Rob now, because Robu is king is dead. So Rob Busey, tell us about your journey from indie game development to where you are now.
So I didn't really start off doing indie games. I knew I wanted to do game dev, but so I went to school for it. Did really well for a couple of years, and then I was about 6 months out from graduating, and I went to go get more financial aid. They put you up for, I think they call it repack.
Okay.
And went go get more financial aid, and they were like, yeah, so you don't have any more. So if you want to continue with school, you've got to pay this out of pocket, right? And so I think when I looked at how much classes and stuff were going to cost, it was going to take another 3 years with the amount I could actually afford out of pocket. And I remember just walking out of there in tears. It was really bad. Because I thought at that time, I was I don't get to graduate. I just went to school for this long for no reason, essentially. I don't get a degree. So I was pretty depressed for about a week and a half. And then finally I just I was you know what? I don't need a degree to go do game dev. I'm going to go make my own game, and that'll be my resume. Right. So I was lucky enough that I was always an artist. I've drawn ever since I can remember. Did animations all that stuff. So I had that part, but I didn't know how to program. Luckily, there's a ton of documentation online for like if you want to learn C# or whatever. And so like that was what I did. Like I would just watch YouTube tutorials on how to like use Unity, program in C#, and I taught myself how to program. And so I just started like making a game, and I did that for about the next 3.5, 4 years. And then completely random, I wanted to show my game at PAX. And so I emailed the guys at PAX, and it was like 6 months before the show, and was like, hey, look, like I really want to show my game. I don't care where the booth is. I don't care if it's in like an upper corner that no one's ever going to see. Just like, give me something. And didn't hear anything till about 2 weeks before PAX. More than likely somebody dropped out or whatever. Fine. So I get an email and they're like, yeah, so we have space for you, but the booth is going to be $1,200. And I was like, I was eating ramen, like stereotypical indie crap, like eating ramen because it was just super cheap and I didn't have anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like pulled it together. I like asked every single friend I had to help me out, like everything like I could think of to pull money together, and we got it done. And so it was actually part of the first PAX Rising 2016 at PAX West. And it was like down on the main floor between the Twitch booth and the Capcom booth when they were showing Resident Evil 7.
No big deal.
And I didn't find out about this until 2 days prior either. Because they didn't tell me. I had to look it up on Guidebook and like see where the booth was. And then I had a like panic attack. Like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And so we did it. And a guy came by the booth, and him and I ended up chatting for like an hour. And I was already working part-time at Amazon in what they call FBA. So if it's fulfillment by Amazon, like third-party sellers that sell on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You basically help with that, right? They do drop shipping stuff. And to be honest, I was miserable. Like it like the job itself was fine, but like all I could think about all day was like, I want to go home and work on my game. Like I have these bugs to fix, these things to do, whatever. And him and I just kept chatting and chatted for like an hour. And then he found out that I was already working at Amazon, and he was asking me like really pointed questions I didn't think about at the time. He was like, you know, what are you doing to like market your game, show your game off? And I told him I was like doing dev streams on Twitch, because that was back when there was still like game dev. And I built an overlay that you could interact with like via Twitch chat commands, like the old like Twitch plays Pokemon chat commands. And it was essentially like a little Tamagotchi pet on the overlay that you could feed and take care of and like clean up its poop and like all this other stuff. Just so I could keep people in my chat while they're watching me do like boring stuff like program. And he thought that was like really interesting. He's like, you know, you'd probably be good at this like marketing job that I have like coming. And Twitch Prime wasn't a thing yet. Like Twitch Prime wasn't launched, so he couldn't even tell me what it was. He could just tell me that it was Twitch related. And so like I bugged him every day, probably next month or so. And probably wasn't even that long, because at the end of that month, he sent me an email just randomly. He was like, hey man, I just realized we're about to launch this thing and we don't have anybody to moderate chat. So can we fly you down to TwitchCon and you can help with like basically the launch of this thing? And I was like, sure. So they had to disclose me, tell me what Twitch Prime was and what it was going to be, and flew me down to TwitchCon. And that was like the first thing that I did on the team without being officially on the team. Was I sat right next to the stage while they did the main show, and I moderated the chat. And then again, I bugged him probably for another month until like they brought me in for an interview. I had to do like the full Amazon loop, because he thought I was actually a level higher than I was at Amazon. And this is like public knowledge, so I'm not like doing anything bad. I was a level 3, and the job that I was moving into was like an entry-level marketing position that was a L4. So he didn't know that. So I actually, when I interviewed, had to then get promoted too, which made it so much more difficult. And I'm glad he didn't tell me that at the time, because I probably would have had another panic attack and just butchered it. But apparently I did well enough. Like I bamboozled enough people in that room to think that I actually deserved to be there. And yeah, they brought me on, and then I've been on the Twitch Prime team for like the last 3 years. So yeah,
awesome.
That's so dope.
Cool. Yeah, right. From just somehow getting a booth at TwitchCon to working for Twitch Prime. That's really cool.
It was a lot of random luck and combination of luck and like hard work. It was bizarre.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. Very cool.
You deserve everything you've gotten though, because that's such a dope story. You worked so hard to get there.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
I don't think you deserve it.
Wow,
I'm just kidding.
That's fair.
Rob, you're now the host of this show.
All right. We can do that.
It's also good segue into positioning too, because if you ever want to be anywhere, you have to position yourself to be to get that situation. Because Rob, honestly, you could have been like, I'm not gonna be a game dev, and just kept working, doing the job you're doing, and just never went home and did the work. But you just did, would put you in a better position. So claps up. I like that.
Yeah,
so
grinding works out.
Love it.
The real question is, do you still eat ramen?
Rarely.
Wow.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while, I'll get like a weird craving for it, but like I can't just like open the packet and just eat the packet. Like I have to do like the fancy ramen thing where I like actually put stuff in it. Like I can't just like, here's the package, here's the water, good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
that makes sense. Sorry, Val. I made him leave.
Dude, you said ramen-esque. I can't.
I did.
On my show.
On my show.
No, it makes sense though what you were saying, Sadomi. It's like if you work hard enough and if you somehow meet the right people, like things can just work out for you for sure. I mean, it's the same thing with Jambo. Like it's not like you were just streaming for like a couple months and then you just decided like I'm just gonna open up about everything. Like no, like you streamed for a while, you worked at your thing, and eventually something happened and things started working out. So it's people don't understand that part, that you can set yourself up for success even when you don't think you're actually setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when I first started streaming, when you first start streaming, you get a lot of advice, and honestly, it's all terrible advice. Like there are people who are like, be yourself, or stream in your free time, play the games you love, and that's all awesome, but it's wrong. So being yourself, like that's such bland bullshit advice. Like you don't know who you are. You're trying to figure out who you feel comfortable being on stream in front of all of these people who are going to be watching you. And a lot of people feel like 10 people is not a lot. That's like standing in front of a room of 10 people that are listening to you talk and fuck around in front of them. And that's huge. Like that's still like people
streaming
are
for
going to
10 people is like being next to a room of 10 people.
Not being in the room, being next to the room.
Right.
I meant to say in front of, but I said next to. I mean, kind of like if that room has a window that's like looking into the room of 10 people.
It's like a one-sided mirror too. You can't see them, but they can see you.
It's true. So you're spying on them. It doesn't matter. So the point being, like, be yourself it's just bad advice. Don't give that advice to someone because it doesn't help anyone. It just makes you anxious because you're like, okay, be myself. Who the fuck is that? And then you have the advice of play what you love. Sure, but if you play what you love too often, you're going to burn yourself out of it. You're not going to like it anymore. So you have to switch the game up. And then what was the other thing I said? I'm talking a lot. Be yourself.
Ramen-esque.
Fuck off. There was something else I don't remember. Just don't give shitty advice. Oh, free time. I remember. Professional
free
streamer. Don't stream in your free time. Make time to stream and enjoy your free time. Because if you like, I took that advice when I first started. I was working like 40 to 50 hours a week and then would stream in my free time, which ended up taking away all of my time. So you got to balance it out and make time. There's a lot of really terrible streaming advice. I would love to know, like, what advice for streaming have you guys gotten that was total and complete bullshit?
We'll start with Robu on this one.
I would definitely say stream the games you love, because most of the time the game that I love usually is going to be the most saturated directory on Twitch.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, do you want to not get found at all because you're in the bottom of, you're on page 99. you know, because there's tons of other people playing it.
I want to get not found at all.
I mean, obviously, right? Twitch has a discoverability issue, and then now you're just going to make it worse.
Weird.
Fantastic. You're going to do great.
We've never talked about this.
Yeah.
I can't even spell discoverability.
Yeah. I think that the best, to go to the inverse, I think the best advice is just to be consistent and like have a schedule.
Right.
That's my biggest problem, is that like my schedule is just all over the place, right? Like and I'm gonna sound like an ass because everybody's gonna be like, oh no, he's got to travel. But like, I have to travel a lot. Like I'm on a plane all the time, and like I don't know when I'm gonna be at any given time, and so that makes it really hard. Right? Like
it's easy to give you shit about that though. Like, oh, I got to go to another gaming convention. Oh wow, damn, that sucks.
Everybody thinks that sounds great until you realize
for free
15 times a month.
Do you have to pay to go? No, they're sending me for free. It's
God,
free flight and everything.
There's been conventions I have not even seen the floor because I had meetings.
Just
and that whole reason I was there
for $0 to go to TwitchCon because you don't have to go. You guys don't have to give me money. I'm going for free. But I just
best
meme. Know that.
Best meme. $0 donation bar. It's like this big. Oh my god. All right. So I don't remember what we were talking about.
What's the
worst streaming advice?
Mine was always be streaming, because if you're not streaming, you can't get found. But like that is. Yeah,
that is not in 2014, possibly, but
sawing off your own foot on stream is better advice than stream all the time.
Yeah, I think you get a clip out of it.
Exactly, you get something out of it.
Yes.
Right? Yes, streaming all the time is garbage advice. You could definitely grow while not streaming. That's how most streamers grow, is by doing things off stream.
Use Twitter.
I think she's saying you should use Instagram and TikTok.
Use Twitter. Use it.
Use it.
Use it.
Use it how?
Use it smart.
There you go. Just be not dumb on Twitter. You'll be good.
Not dumb. I don't know. You want to? I always like. There are people, if you go on like their Twitter page, right? And you see that the whole thing is about their stream. It's going live posts. It's clips. It's whatever, and that's great. But like, you want to post like as a person too. Like you want people to get to know who you are and bridge that gap to your stream. So people want to take the time to come and see you live, because it's like, I was just talking about this the other day on stream. The social media is on everybody else's time. Stream is on your time, and you need to convince people that it's worth making the jump to visit you on your time.
Yeah.
There you go. I thought somebody else was going to say something. I was like, who's going to say something first?
Yeah. So I think my worst streaming advice was just stream it. And I play a lot of Rocket League, and generally I also play in a few leagues. And so when I'm doing like warm-ups or practice, I'm like, yeah, just stream it. Before I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I toss it on, and then I had a really bad experience with my stream back in the day with Rocket League. I won't get into it too much, but it was really crappy. Like it made me quit Rocket League, quit streaming, quit everything for like 4 months. Did not want to deal with that. So essentially, the crowd that comes in when I'm playing Rocket League is a whole different crowd than what I kind of cultivate now. And whenever someone says to stream it, and I wanted to actually just stream it, I went to go do that, it was never a good time. I always end up looking like the worst person in the world, and it has never resonated with what I want to do now. Because as much as I would like to say, hey, I'm good, I'm excited all the time, I'm in a good mood all the time, I'm not at all. This brain has like two sides to it, and one side is Mr. Jekyll, the other side's Dr. Hyde. Did I get it backwards? I probably got it backwards, but either way, we'll
figure it out.
If you're not feeling it, and you're really not feeling it, you already know. You don't even have to ask. That's the question. That just don't stream if you don't feel it. If you really don't feel it, I mean, you can push through sometimes if it's like not like there, but if it's like you're on the verge of drop kicking your roommate, don't.
Right.
Do it on stream.
No.
Yeah. Oh.
Do it live.
Do it live.
Yeah,
no, I agree for sure. Don't push through and stream just to stream, because that's going to be worse for you than it is to take a break and care for yourself. Without you, there is no stream. So always put yourself first and take care of you.
Yeah.
Boom.
It would have been terrible to watch me play StarCraft 2 back in the day. Like, I was Diamond League when Diamond was the highest you could be before there was a Masters and Grandmasters. And
Flex.
yeah, and it was all doing just trolly crap. So I was the worst StarCraft 2 player
That sounds
imaginable.
like the only StarCraft that I'd want to watch is truly
Yeah.
StarCraft.
But it got to a point where like I would get like incredibly angry. Like I turned terrible person. I remember my wife. Like I was in the middle of a match and she didn't realize I was in a match and she was like, "Hey babe, can you take the garbage out?" I was like, like freaking out.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I was like in the middle of getting like 4 games by a DOS player and I was just losing my mind and I was already pissed off. And then like I remember the first time I snapped and I was like, all right, well, I'm uninstalling this, and I never played it again.
Yeah, being that toxic is not great. Because then, like off stream, you're still going to be in a bad mood, you know,
Right.
which is not good. It's not a good thing when you want to go spend time with a significant other and you're still like pissed off from stream. That's not good. Because then they'll be like, maybe you should stop streaming. Then you don't want to have that conversation at all. And maybe you should get off my back.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, Sadomi, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, just stream it is terrible advice. Like, every streamer goes through like having a viewer say like, "Oh, you should try streaming this game." But like, if you're really not feeling it, you probably shouldn't do it. It's
Right.
the same as it's the exact same thing as like a game that you might stream quite often. If you're not feeling it on a certain day and viewers want you to stream it that day, it's still not going to be a good stream because you're just not feeling it. Like, it's all based on your perception of that game on that specific day, on how you're doing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, Velok hasn't played Far Cry 5 in like a year. Every
Well,
day I ask him why he's not playing it.
every day. There's always a DM, 8:45 in the morning.
This isn't Far Cry 5.
Far Cry.
That is a real thing she used to say all the time, though. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's definitely Far Cry.
Yeah, he would be playing Fortnite. That's not Far Cry.
It's the same thing if you think about it in a
God,
different
You're
way.
right.
Let's go.
Never mind.
Oh, CSGO, dude. That's bad. That's bad. All right. So, let's see. Jambo, I have a couple questions for you. Like, what, like, so I know you get asked this all the time, and I know you just put out a clip about this. But what are some tips that you have for streamers that, you know, say like they're already into streaming, they already kind of get like a feel of what they're doing.
Mhm.
They want to, you know, get to the next level, not necessarily like jump to full-time streaming, because there's so much like that
Right.
you can't give any advice on how to become a full-time streamer. But like somebody that's been streaming for like, let's say a year or two, they have maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 viewers and they're just looking to get the next jump up. Like what's your advice for somebody like that?
Like someone who's already kind of established that they are going to continue streaming, that it's something
Yeah.
they want to do.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's kind of difficult because everybody
Mhm.
is different and you can't really tell someone like what to stream or who to
Right.
be. But I think honestly, the biggest and best advice that I can give is kind of in two parts. You want to be organic, like be genuine. If you don't feel like playing a game, don't play that game. If you're having an off day, like be open about it. Don't hide what's going on and put stream over that.
Mhm.
Always put yourself first, whatever that means for you and whatever that means for stream. And secondly, use social media, because there are so many streamers who don't. Like, it's amazing to me, like seeing different people who don't have their social medias as like a command in chat or even as like a panel on their channel. Like, you need that connection. I know that I stress it a lot and I know I talk about it a lot, but it is so important to make use of social media, because that is how you network. That is how you meet people. That's how people meet you. That's how people are going to find you. And it's just very difficult almost impossible to just grow on Twitch. You won't. Because you're not able to do anything or network there. It's not a true social media site. It's a live streaming platform, and that is what it's made for. And you can network, which a lot of people, there's always this back and forth that I see about the word networking. There are people who think it's bad, like it has negative connotations, like, oh, you're just using people to grow. No, it's a business. You are essentially running your own business, and you do need to meet people and you do need to network, but you can still foster genuine connections, which is also something that you should try to do. Make friends, meet people, socialize, because streaming can be a very lonely thing. Like you might be talking to, say you have 30 viewers in chat. You might be streaming for 30 people, but you're still alone. Once that camera shuts off, you're by yourself. It's just you behind a camera. So make friends and socialize and develop those relationships, because it's all going to come back to help you in the long run.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's solid advice. Robu, my guy. So this is like, I feel like this might be a little bit harder to answer, but for someone that's in your situation working at Twitch Prime, how can somebody, work towards getting into your field? You know what I mean? Like having you here, I feel like there's some people in the chat who probably want to do something in the video gaming industry of some sort. So what's some advice that you might have for people?
I think if you're passionate about it, I think that's going to lead you in the direction that you want to go. I think that's kind of what, and I get that this sounds very stereotypical too, but like the reason that I was good at my job and why my boss thought that I was good at my job was because I loved video games, right? Like I played video games. And so when we were doing promotions for video games, I was able to be like, oh, I play that and I think this would be cool and blah, 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 and like run him through it, right? That was one thing that he really liked. So passionate people, I think, will always kind of get where they need to go. If you're trying to break into the video game industry, a little bit of it is luck. It's a very competitive industry. It also depends on what field you're going to go into, right? Like I wanted to be a concept artist for a long time. I wanted to be like a creative director because I drew a lot. That's highly, highly competitive, right? But at the same time, like if you work at it, if you're passionate about it, if it excites you, I think after a while, you're eventually going to find your place, like basically in a situation where you can network with the right people, make those connections. Kind of like Jambo saying, like, networking shouldn't be a dirty word, right? Like I've definitely made some solid friendships out of networking, right? Like it started off as very much of like, hey, like you have something from a business perspective that I would like, and I think we can work together. But like then like just talking with those people months over months, whatever, like I have genuine friendships with some of those people now. It really just kind of depends on what you're trying to do in the video game industry, but like go to shows, like talk to people. Like you never know who you're going to meet. Like I was literally at PAX and just a dude came by my booth. Like that was just something that happened. And him and I just happened to like hit it off and we got to talking for like an hour. You never know who you're going to meet, right? Like the game industry especially like is very small. Like, and like somebody you meet that's an indie dev will like later go and start their own indie game company that then explodes. Like that happened to me. I used to live with the Tiny Build guys. Like the business manager of Tiny Build is somebody I used to live with. Like I was there when they were trying to like figure out things for speedrunners. Like, and that just happened to happen. And so like now when I see them at trade shows, I can walk over and like give Luke a hug. Like that's just, something that happens. So like, definitely make a point of like talking to people. But really, I think it all comes down to like, if you're passionate about it, that'll lead you where you want to go. Like it definitely helped me a lot.
Right. I like what you're saying about talking to people, because like I wouldn't know you, and I obviously wouldn't know Sadomi if it wasn't for TRUgaming. But back in 2017, getting to meet you at TwitchCon a little bit and talking to you then, and then TwitchCon 2018, approaching you again, and then obviously talking a lot more, led to things like you obviously taking me and my wife out to Seattle so I could be there for the Twitch Prime event. Things like that where like I didn't expect anything out of you at all. Like I wasn't trying to get in on the goods or whatever. but like I just talked to somebody, made a friend, and something cool happened out of that. So it's definitely about just knowing people, being yourself, being passionate about it, and people will appreciate that you're just a genuine person who is passionate about whatever it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I was literally just walking through Twitch and I hear, "Hey, Robu!" And like literally there's like 8 people that know that name. So I was like what? And then like I see Vel like just standing in line. I think you were literally waiting to go like see Tim the Tap Man.
I definitely was.
And like him and I just like talked, and I remembered Vel from that interaction. Like we talked off and on since then. And like the Contra event came, and I was like, I need to find some peeps. And like Vel was top of mind because I always enjoyed the stuff he did. He was entertaining, he was funny, and I was like, hey, I know a guy that talks about Twitch Prime already. So like, let's bring him on. Like, he's great, right? Like, that was just, again, another situation where you kind of find yourself in a weird, just random show, have to talk to somebody, and then you kind of build a friendship or a relationship out of it, and there you go. Like, stuff just takes off, right? So
yeah. And I think part of that was probably talking to you like a regular person instead of, just trying, you know what I mean? Like having like a real conversation, not like, oh, you're a Twitch Prime guy, let's talk. You know what I mean? Like just talking to people just for the sake of talking, I think makes a huge difference. So like, yeah, you should definitely go and talk to people, but you don't need to address that there's some, they could be like a head honcho that works for some, game development company or something like that. But like, you can just have like an actual conversation with them, and that'll probably stick out way better than just kissing ass because they are who they are,
Yeah. And there's something to be said about that for growth. Like the more that your channel or brand content grows and the more people learn who you are, there are always going to be people that are trying to take advantage of what you've built and your hard work to benefit them. And it's a shame because it's so hard to tell who is genuinely interested in being your friend and who is genuinely interested in your success. And it's so difficult sometimes to tell the difference between people who are excited for you and excited because of you. And that's a very, very, very frustrating part of growing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been dealing with lately. Which as happy and as excited I am as having all of this growth has made me, it's also definitely made me very wary of to whom I trust my community and to who I trust discussing success with, because success is one of those things that while you would think a good thing happening to you is a good thing to talk about, sometimes it isn't. And there are some people who don't really care. And there are some who overcompensate and care too much because they believe that your success will benefit them in the long run. And it's very, very frustrating.
Yeah, there's a lot of sharks out there for sure that just want a little piece, and that happens at every level for sure. Like even if you see a spurt of like 5 extra viewers one week, there's going to be somebody there that wants a piece of it. Yep. It's crazy because like I'm not a big streamer by any means, but if I have a good week or a good 2 weeks, I've definitely had people approach me in ways that they don't normally, and you can tell like. For that kind of stuff, you can tell right off the bat, but like it's really hard to tell. I kind of know what you're saying for sure. That there's people out there that say they want to be your friend, they really just want a piece of what you're getting, and instead of just being happy for somebody and realizing that like, hey, that person's seeing success, I should be happy for them because I can get it too in a different through a different avenue. Like I don't need it from them. Like we should all just be happy for each other instead of trying to get a piece.
Right. There's somebody that I know through Twitch that used to was very we no longer associate, but they used to be very comparative over sub numbers, over donation amounts, over whatever like your bit intake was. It was always a competition. It was always like, oh, like how many subs did you get today? Because I got this many. And it was one of those things where you just don't care. Like that's not something that you want to, there's nothing wrong with talking about those things. Don't get me wrong. Right. But like when that is how you open a conversation, and it got to the point where this person would no longer raid after stream because they didn't want their high donors or gifters to give to other people that they would raid. So they stopped raiding altogether. They wouldn't host charity streams because they didn't want their community to feel obligated to donate. Which, of course, if we can't all put that together, means they don't want them to give to anything but themselves. And it's so nutty to me. Like the people that you meet and the intentions that they have. Intention is everything. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There are some questionable, iffy people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about somebody giving to somebody like to a different channel instead of yours, chances are you're probably not going to be getting those things from that person much longer, you know, because like if that's all that you're worried about, it's going to show, and you're going to be less entertaining each day because that's all that you care about. And so those people are going to stop showing up, and they're going to show up to somebody who really does just appreciate that anybody's doing anything in their channel, like even just being there.
Yeah, and not to mention rating is one of the only parts of Twitch that really allows you to grow your community and meet other people and introduce your community to others. It's because you can't be selfish about the community that you build. The community you build is for other people. It's not just for you. It's everyone. And it's to not introduce them to new people because you're afraid that they're going to gift subs is like one of the most bizarre mindsets that I can ever think of. Also, they would mod only their top donors and gifters, which, by the way, is kind of against TOS. No. Because if anybody looks like they are buying moderation, the moderation role, it is against TOS. Mm-hmm. So if all of your top donors are also your mods, that's a big, big problem.
Good thing VIP is a thing.
Good thing.
Yeah. I don't understand people like that. I guess like I remember, and I still actually text my old boss, but like I basically looked at him like he took a chance on me, gave me like basically changed my life really. Like I found out he had put me up for promotion, and my promotion got accepted like right after I found out my now 2-year-old was coming, right? So like I was sweating, like how am I going to pay bills? Like this is absolutely terrifying. And then I found out I was getting promoted, and that the like essentially the dollar value that I needed to like make ends meet was going to not be a problem. Like I remember crying like in my like the office, my promotion room with him, like while he's like, oh yeah, and you got promoted and here's your compensation now. Like I remember like losing my mind. And so like ever since then it's kind of always been like, and like I've told Vel this, like all ships rise in the high tide, right? Like
I use that all the time now.
Right. Like try to bring people with you. Right. And that's kind of how I've always looked at it, is like somebody took a chance on me and elevated me because like I worked hard, or I happen to be in the right place at the right time, right? And so like I always try to look for chances to give back to people, right? And like pay it forward, because like I was that at one point. And so now it's like, now that I have the ability to do the same thing, that is the benefit that I look for. It just, I mean, like, yeah, selfishly it makes me feel good, right? But like you know, it's nice to be able to actually give that to people. I don't understand people that like just manipulate to get themselves ahead.
Yeah.
Like,
big agree.
It's that scarcity mindset.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's that scarcity mindset. I think everyone should go with an abundance mindset, because it's even outside of Twitch. But if you think about it in Twitch perspective, there aren't a finite amount of viewers. There aren't a finite amount of ways you can get. It's essentially, for our scale, it's infinite. We can reach, for what is normally possible for a human, almost infinite amount of people with what we do. Okay. And no matter what you do, the more you think that there's not enough for me, so I have to take my first, is all the opportunity you're losing to think I have a lot to give versus I have a lot to take.
Yeah, Gordon Gekko is not an admirable character. Just putting that out there. Really? Nobody wants to lie, cheat, and steal, and step on people's necks to get there.
Hey, some people are into that.
Yeah, some people.
Kings for everything.
I'm not king shaming.
Our next topic is what are kinks. But no, you made it like, I like what you said there, Rob, about, like when that happened, when you got told about your promotion and, the new pay compensation, and everything, you kind of like broke down there and everything, and then like seeing Jamie or Jambo on her stream, get all the support from her community. And then Jambo cries a lot on her stream. And I remember a few years ago,
every week.
But I remember a few years ago, somebody asked me, or somebody told me, they're like, I don't understand why streamers cry or like break down on stream when they make money. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, when you work really hard at something for a long time and never expect anything out of anybody, you don't manipulate anybody to do these kind of things.
Yep.
And then when you're in enough hard times and the money really could help, but you never ask for it, and you just deal with those hard times over and over again. And this is the same thing as obviously Rob was just talking about. When you work that hard, you're that genuine of a person, and you just continue to work hard and you don't ask for anything, and then something happens, like that's the reason why you break down, because like it's finally like it makes like it just helps. And it's nice that things work out after a certain amount of time of dealing with so much bullshit. And I just thought that was a really interesting thing. That person was like, I don't understand why streamers cry on Twitch. Like, you don't understand how hard they're working then, clearly.
Right. Well, and it's not even just that. It's like, it is, you do work hard. You work hard and you put a lot of time into your content and what you do. But on top of that, this is other people who are working hard every day to make this money and have their own lives, and are taking not only time, but their money to help you. And that is one of the most incredible things in the world. And that's not, I think people, when that person asked you that, I think it's like, well, isn't that like what you want? Like, streamers want money. Why would you cry? Like, it's not crying like, oh my God, I have so much money now. It's crying because it's so hard to believe that you are worthy of that, for pursuing something that you love to do.
Right.
Because you grow up with, people telling you that you need to work a job you hate, and you need to, in order to pay your bills, and you need to have, this insurance, and you need to do, and there's a lot of stress put on people to be miserable. And when you are enjoying what you do every day, it is so hard sometimes to accept that kind of generosity. When our community came together to pay my medical bills after I was in the hospital, like, that is a feat. That is something that nobody had to help with. That has nothing to do with stream. That's me.
Right.
That's my life outside of streaming. And people cared enough about that to help me. There is no amount of thank you or gratitude that I could express to appropriately articulate how I'm feeling. Crying is just, that's my go-to reaction.
No, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. And you nailed it too, like feeling worthy of that kind of stuff. And like, you never really feel like you're worthy of that. Like, it always, like, realizing that people think you're worth spending money on like that is huge. It's a very crazy experience. And I've talked about this a lot as somebody who grew up getting bullied a lot in school. It's not like, I'm not saying like, oh, woe is me. There's a lot of people on Twitch. Almost everybody on Twitch has had to deal with this. You know what I mean? But like, when you grow up and you think that you're not really worth much or whatever, and you think, oh, I'm going to be spending most of my life grinding a 9-to-5 job that I'm probably going to hate.
Yeah.
Because I sucked in school, so I'm not going to go to college. And then like going to do something like this where people really do support you and think that you're worth their time, and for some weird reason their money, like it's a crazy, overwhelming thing that it's just a lot of people just won't get it. Yeah,
I had somebody one time the first stream back that I had on November 2nd, I made a post about how we had passed 100 subs again, which was that's a big fucking deal. And somebody was like, wow, only 100? And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Only 100? That's a group of people that are giving you money per month or have gifted that to other people. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I'll never understand that, like, only that many. It's such a crass way of looking at how other people are choosing to support, like as if it's not enough.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's gross to hear people talk about it that way.
Only 100.
Enjoy your shit life with that outlook.
Yeah,
right. Like, you got to start somewhere, and 100 is a big fucking deal. That's like saying you only have 10 viewers, but you're in the top 5% of streamers on Twitch with that many viewers. You know what I mean? Like,
it's true. Yeah.
It's all about perspective. And if the person who thinks that you only have 100 subs isn't ever going to do anything successful on Twitch by any means, at least with an attitude like that, like Rob was saying.
Yeah.
Also, like the best quote I ever heard, Michael Jordan does respond to dumb Twitter comments.
That's true.
Yeah.
Elephants don't beef with ants.
Exactly.
That's a Floyd Mayweather quote.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely though. Okay, so thank you guys so much for answering those questions. Really appreciate that. It's nice to have the perspective of people who are doing things and they're doing those things really well. You know, obviously people would like as much insight as possible. So thank you guys for answering those questions. I really appreciate it. We have a question from somebody on Twitter, a listener that can't be here during the live show. So it's real Empoleon _TV. And by the way, if you guys have any questions in the chat, feel free to @Belloc_TV, myself, and TRUgaming in the chat with your question, and we'll get to it on the show. He says, "Hi, my name is Donnie, and I just started listening to y'all on Spotify. I work when you stream, but I have a question. What is your take on similar sized streamers pairing together as partnered streamers? Some context so the question makes sense. Myself and my partner are getting a little over 20 average viewers at any given time. What are the pros and cons? I'd love to hear an answer on a future podcast if possible." So this is this person and their, I'm assuming, relationship partner, and they have two different streams and they're thinking about merging to one.
So I'll start off with the number one question you should always ask is like, why? Like, why would you want to do that? Mm-hmm. Because if you just kind of do something, I'll think about the why and see if it aligns with your goals. And if it does, what you can do to help that go further with your goals. Because if you just do it, there's going to be a lot of downsides to it. Some pros, some cons. And also with partner, if it is a personal relationship partner, always think that what happens if that goes south? What happens if you find success with it and it doesn't end up being what you want to be down the line? You want to split it up. Like, do you then abandon that one side, or do you keep that one side? Who keeps what? You got to work all that out if that's how you're going about it. And so again, you want to get back to the base question of, well, why do you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would agree. Yeah, like, is it strictly a numbers thing, or is it wanting to do it because your content meshes and it makes sense to do it for both of you and the message that you're trying to spread?
Right. Yeah. Sadomi, I saw that you, because we were talking about this a little bit before the show started. You also mentioned like what happens if you guys decide that it doesn't work out, like who gets the channel, you know, things like that. Some really some questions that you don't necessarily want to have to answer, but should be answered before anything actually happens. Like what would happen if it doesn't work out? Like, does anybody get the channel? Do you guys go back to doing your own separate things on the channels that you already have? You know, like, because there's a good chance that it might not work out. You know, I'm not saying that it won't, but when you have your own channel for yourself, you can do your own thing. You don't need to worry about the consequences of what it's going to be like for the other content creator who makes content for this channel, because it makes things really weird when it's not your specific channel. I think we've all seen, like, you know, a streamer who streams on a channel that's not necessarily theirs, and so they don't feel like they have the creative freedom like they would like on their own personal channel, and it just doesn't necessarily work out. And I think that you just having your own channel and, you know, supporting somebody else, you know, giving them shout outs or whatever, rating their channel, things like that, I think are way more beneficial. I think it's a way better way to approach it than just merging your channels together.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the benefit also of like having someone else on your stream every once in a while. Like, I've streamed with my wife, And it's nice having somebody to banter back and forth with, so I'm not just talking to myself the entire time. Or you know, chat if I actually happen to get people in chat, which is rare. But like other than that, like Sadomi already said, like what I don't want to put it out there and be like, oh, you're thinking negatively, but like breakups do happen. Like if you're sharing that channel with somebody, what are you going to do if that happens? You know, it's like it's bad enough when you already have to like, you know, I've had relationships where I had to like separate our phone bill and our bank. Like now I have another extra level of who gets this channel that we've been growing together. I mean, the only time I think the only pro that I could see to sharing a channel with someone is in a situation like mine where I can't always be on the channel, having somebody there that can consistently do stuff. But then it's also like more their channel at that point, right?
Yeah. I feel like a better way to kind of go about it is, and this is going super deep level on this, is if you kind of set up a separate kind of channel so far, because I'm assuming they're not super well established either, so it probably wouldn't be too hard to kind of migrate people over as well. It's like that dual situation. Or just coaching when you feel like it, because that might be a better like option. Or have something we do like once a week, so it's not like something you have to buy into all the way, and you can always pull out without much we'll say not say backlash, but consequence, without much consequence. In other words, always give yourself an easy out and think of what will give you the best play in the future too.
Right.
It's like getting a dog if you live in an apartment complex and you got to move in a year.
Yeah.
We're all saying a lot of things that make us seem super skeptical of this decision, which we kind of are to an extent. But like not having this person around to answer our questions to go a little bit deeper makes this a little bit more difficult.
I think the other thing that I would say in regards to this is how much is it hindering your time together being separate streamers? Because that's definitely something that I've heard been a problem before. Because if you have two streamers, that's two separate schedules. You're both not streaming at the same time. That then takes away from your time together as partners. And I can understand maybe the desire behind wanting to stream with your partner, but maybe instead of joining your channels, maybe just take one night a week to stream together. Find a balance, but don't completely change and shift the entire channel.
Yeah. Totally agree. Like if you think your content that you're going to be putting out together is going to be something super special and something that people would enjoy, by all means, definitely do that, but don't back away from what you're doing already. Because if it happens and you have to go back to just doing your own thing for whatever reason,
right?
Like it's nice to have that just still going instead of having to go back to that thing that you left behind so long ago. Definitely really good advice. Loaded Guns was wondering about PAX East. I don't really know too much about PAX. I know
I do.
I think all three of you guys have been to PAX East.
Yep.
So.
PAX.
So if you guys want to talk a little bit about PAX, just for Loaded Gun's sake, because I literally know nothing aside from it being a gaming convention.
What about it specifically? Just about PAX East?
Yeah, just like a little rundown of what PAX East is, I guess. Just to help Loaded Guns out here.
Yeah, so I think PAX East is, and this is from a guy who went to PAX East 2017, 2016. I haven't been the last 2 years because it's pain in the butt to get tickets. But yeah, but essentially what I kind of gather from it, it's a line waiting simulator to try out new things. Or if you don't want to wait in line, to try out a bunch of new like indie games. You can meet a lot of cool people. You have a cool tabletop area. It's a cool hangout place, and I like going when I can't get the chance to go. TwitchCon for me, in comparison, feels more of like a very huge networking event. As in, if I go to TwitchCon, I will make friends there. But if I go to PAX East, I'll probably have a group with me already. That's just from a guy who's been. I'm sure Robu probably has a better like perspective as a guy who actually works cons and does booths and meetings there and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you touched on a lot of it. It's obviously like a consumer-facing show, right? It's not a big networking thing like TwitchCon. There are definitely booths that you're going to stand in line to play like the newest game or whatever. But like you also said, like the indie area is a lot of what I go to see. And that's usually much easier, right? You just walk up, it's a small booth. There might be 1 or 2 people there standing there playing it or whatever. That's much easier to go do. And then of course, there's merch booths and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I usually go to kind of not only meet with partners that I've worked with before. So like any Blizzard promotions we do. Sometimes I have meetings with Blizzard, stuff like that. Yeah.
Woe is me. I gotta go to a convention
or whatever. But like that's always fun. So like if you're super into like and you want to play the Final Fantasy demo or whatever, I mean that was a couple different conventions that I've been to now. You can stand in that line and wait for however long it's going to take if you want to do that, or you can go wander. Like there's a ton of stuff to do. There's also usually some pretty cool panels that you can get on. And go check out. I go do those a lot too. Whereas TwitchCon is mostly, stream focused and building your audience and things like that. PAX is a lot of like game dev stuff. So if you're into game dev for new games and things like that, there's a lot of cool panels that you can check out too. Yeah, just be prepared for, expensive convention food.
Yep. So. One thing I'll add too about just convention in general is if you ever have an opportunity to go to one, you've never been to one, definitely go to one. It's so weird meeting so many people who you already know are into like the stuff we're into. I'm sure a lot of us, we go outside and into like the real world. And we talk about Twitch or video games, or even it's like we say a Kappa and they're like, I think we're speaking a whole different language. Like we're speaking Swahili in Mexico or something. But it's such a weird experience, so liberating. And I think you really get to feel who you are as a gamer once you go visit these places, because you see people who are into all different kinds of things. And if you're open to socializing, or if you're not, it's great practice. It's great practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've always enjoyed those conventions because I feel like, I guess I'm with my people, right?
Right.
Like, I'm not just in a silo by myself enjoying games. Like I'm surrounded by people that love video games. Which is always nice. I will say, if you're interested in PAX, I actually, despite the fact that I live in Seattle and have lived in Washington my entire life, I like PAX East probably the most. Like it's got the best layout. Like there's a cool like glass sky bridge that goes across the middle of it. You can just walk across and see the entire floor and know exactly where everything is. You can't do that at like PAX West. Like it's on multiple floors, and it's really kind of hard to navigate and kind of confusing. PAX East is like super straightforward, super easy to find your way around. So like if you're going to go do a PAX East is the way to go, despite the fact that it's going to be freezing, and I'm probably going to turn it into an ice cube. So yeah,
dope.
I'll be there too. So if you see me, you can like smack me.
Don't do that.
All right, you heard it here first. I'm going to smack Rob at PAX.
There's a patch for everything.
I feel like the difference between PAX and TwitchCon is how what their focus is. Because if you're going to go to PAX, that's a big networking event for you and game developers. It's a big chance for you to see what games maybe you want to stream or play or what have you throughout the convention. And yeah, you're probably going with other people, but like you still meet people. It's just not as social, I would say, as TwitchCon, because at TwitchCon, you're going to a convention that's full of other people that do what you do, that are looking to talk with people and meet new people and all of that. And while I do think that some people are maybe a little bit more reserved at PAX in that regard, I do feel like both of them definitely have bigger pros, a bigger pro and con shift, depending on what you're looking for. So if you had to pick between the two, I would just pick which one you would be maybe more comfortable, or which one might benefit you more in the long run.
There you go. Looks like we have a question from Crazy Eyes. This is probably going to get a little interesting. So
before he gets on for a question real quick, if you're trying to go to PAX East, make sure tickets sell out in about 10 minutes to an hour usually. So if you haven't, it's like you got to plan like a year ahead. So
it's that, or then you can only buy like 4-day passes, because the Saturday tickets are the ones that sell out first. So if you're trying to go Saturday and not go all 4 days, you have to buy them like right away.
Yeah, I got a 4-day pass because
same.
I'm totally that guy. But yeah, Thursday is still available. Friday's low, Sunday's low, and then Saturday is sold out. So there's options.
Well, there you go. There is options. I still need to go to one, but we're gonna pull Crazy Eyes in here. It might get a little interesting if you guys don't know who Crazy Eyes is. So
He's crazy.
And he has eyes.
Sometimes.
All right. Crazy Eyes.
I'm scared.
Same.
Just eating pasta as soon as he gets here. This guy.
You guys are interrupting my lunch.
Oh my God, I'm Sadomi. Look at it. This is what I wanted.
I'm still
Hey, there we go.
Hi, play with Jambo.
So I think the YouTube trying to allow the donations creators. They're just trying to get on that Patreon money, right? They don't really have a system. I mean, Twitch has no real benefits. You could use an emote if you subscribe. But like, I mean, what are you gonna do with a sub-only stream? Like, have an AMA, and it's like, all right, these 50 people got to, and then like that's it, right? And then what are you gonna do? Will you post that publicly? It's like, only the people that pay me money can ask me a question. There's got to be more. I want more subscriber. That's like 50% of my take-home pay is going to subscriptions. I'm not getting much for it. My wife is angry, so. I was trying to think of like what could you do? Like, why doesn't YouTube or Twitch or anything have like a Patreon level? How could they set that up? Right? I don't know.
Yeah. So what's your question?
I honestly, I think I figured out the question. I dug through the question. So I think what's happened. So I think the problem is, no matter what you do on Twitch's platform, they're going to want a cut of it. Simple as business. They're going to cut of it. Right. So a benefit of doing direct donations versus doing bits is, like I said, you probably get more in comparison to like using the streamers, from the donator's wallet to you, but then you lose that protection that Twitch provides with bits. And so there's going to be trade-offs. Like systems are going to have, like Twitch users are going to have systems in place to allow you to monetize, because if you can monetize, be more induced to make more content and you can make a living off of it. And they take a little bit out of that chunk each time. So essentially, if they want to make more tools, they have to find a way to keep a good balance between them getting their cut and you making sure you're still happy with what you're getting.
Right.
Because Patreon is the bread and butter of the art scene. It's just every artist, they got to have their Patreon, right? And there's no real equivalent for anything else, any other type of like, how does a YouTuber have a Patreon? You get my video a week early. Like, great. What are you gonna do with that information? Like, I get to watch it like a week early. So I think it could be better. I'm just giving you the problem. You're the professionals. You're the ones who can discuss.
Have you considered OnlyFans?
Yeah,
you have myself as a fan, so I don't.
Oh,
is that like another Patreon? Is that
something like that? Yes.
Okay.
Here's the thing though. Like, I feel I get what you're saying, that you think that there should be more incentive to subscribing, but I think that's still on the content creator to do, because that's kind of the same with Patreon. Like, Patreon doesn't give you anything that you can do. That's all the creator coming up with the incentives. So the same thing could happen. I think the biggest problem here might be that Twitch is taking part of the profits, and with Patreon you get all of it. But like, I feel like ultimately it's the same. Like, you're going to have the same kind of incentives. It's just a different platform to do them on.
Right. Patreon gives the channels for which you can reward the people. So it's like, oh, you can only view the image on when you sign into your account on Patreon. You're the only person who can look at that or watch that video. On Patreon, you can, their website set up like you can't just download it, to give to other people who don't pay, to the poor people like me and my friends who subscribe using Twitch Prime, Velok. And Twitch doesn't have that. Twitch just has sub-only streams. This is the only thing. Sub-only chat, sub-only streams. There's nothing else.
I do wish that Twitch would implement GIF emotes for like tier 3.
Yes.
I think that would be a huge
tier 2,
benefit.
Tier 3 would be great for that.
Yeah, something that has like an actual incentive to. I love emotes. I'm not even gonna play. Like, I will happily give somebody money for the emotes that they paid $35 to $40 a piece for. Like, you get them so that people enjoy them. So, and maybe that's coming from a streamer perspective, because I've done that too. But I feel like that is pretty cool to be able to use that artwork across Twitch. But I do think that they could stand to do something a little bit different for tier 3 and tier 2 subs, for sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea. I like it.
Question: have you guys seen a decrease amount of T2 and T3 subs since gift subbing came out?
No. I've had people who have been tier 3 and tier 2 subs that have stayed that level. I do think that there are actually people who are gifting like tier 2 and tier 3 subs too, which is absolutely insane. But I don't think a decrease really. I've seen an increase in tier 1 subs since sub gifting came out.
That's true.
Yeah,
I would have a pretty significant increase.
Tier 2 or tier 3 at all. So I can't see a decrease if I don't have an increase.
That's optimism right there. No decrease.
That's a sad flex.
There you go.
Wait, you guys are getting subs?
Flex, but okay.
Where are you getting these subs from?
Subsonly.com.
Wow, that's nope. Don't go to that website.
Wait, what's on?
Vince, we're gonna need you to edit that part out of the. Somebody said something. I don't know who it was. It wasn't me. Somebody said something.
You don't have to.
Honestly, it's not even that bad. It's just
Scrubsonly.com.
Scrubs only. Yep.
Yeah,
That's what was
working
said.
here. Yeah.
Crazy guys. I like the dynamic that we have. That you come in here and you kind of ask a question. I never answer it, and I just leave it for other people to address.
Because you know how to deal with me, but I
Yeah,
can't ever. I always have this thought. I have a thought coming into it, and then I never formulate it enough before you bring me on. Maybe I'll just wait till after the show's over next time.
But I don't have a question. I'm just frustrated.
I'm frustrated with this thing. I'm gonna eat some pasta and kind of talk about it.
It's noodles. It's not. I guess that's pasta.
Yeah, it's definitely
like the
Pasta, yeah.
Hey, crazy eyes.
Literally,
You
pasta.
are the exact replica of like the nice Karen. The nice Karen. The Karen that we like.
The problem, and I want it fixed for other people. So it's like it's not selfish. It's the opposite. I'm sacrificing a lot to be here right now. My boss is behind me. It's lunch. It's fine.
Do you have?
My wife is here. She doesn't want to be shown live and in person.
Do you have any fresher lettuce in the back?
Oh, I've had that question.
I don't know what that means.
It means I'm lazy. I want to pay for my food.
Look, just sub to Sadomi. All right.
That's good advice. That's how you make it on Twitch.
All right. You guys have any more questions?
Do we?
Yeah, I think I'm about to wrap the show up. So,
all right.
All right, cool.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So that's crazy, guys. All right. So, yeah, that okay. All right. So, next topic that I have that I wanted to talk about is Robu actually touched on this a little bit. He was talking about streaming solo because, like you're saying, how sometimes you have your wife join you, so it's not just you talking to yourself all the time. That actually brings up a good point that I think that there's too many people trying to stream with people to bounce off of. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many people that are trying to co-stream or trying to have somebody to talk to the entire time, but they do it all the time on their channel. You know what I mean? And I think that there's value to be had and there's skills to be learned about just streaming by yourself and learning how to just run a stream without necessarily having a back and forth conversation with another voice. You know what I mean? Like, talking to chat is one thing, but I think just running a stream by yourself, you know, and you're the only source of entertainment that the chat gets, I think there's something to be learned there. And I think it's a really important skill as a streamer. So Jamie, we'll start with you on this one. So what do you think about that?
I agree. I definitely think that there's something to be said for being able to talk to chat on your own and kind of practice that skill, because it is, I believe, a necessary one. You're not always going to have somebody to bounce off of. And I know that there are people that prefer to stream while talking to somebody else, but what happens if somebody can't be there? Like, you have to learn and teach yourself these skills, because it's going to benefit you in the long run. If down the road you need to talk to a developer or a sponsor on your own, it might not sound like it's the same thing, but is, your ability to have a conversation with yourself and with other people is important.
Robu, Sadomi, anything about this one? As streamers,
I agree. I think it's very important that you kind of learn, like, I guess it's almost an exercise in insanity, but learn to talk to yourself. Like, I mean, most of the time when I'm streaming, it's like my stream of consciousness, just like thinking like, why the hell did I do that? Why is that happening? This dialogue is really friggin' annoying. This is really stupid. Like, and like, but just vocalizing that, right? Like I'm thinking it. So just run it through a filter real quick and then let it come out of your mouth, right?
Or don't filter it at all and get banned really fast.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh man.
So
one thing, like even YouTubers, like big YouTubers, are like, streaming's hard. How do y'all do this? Because talking in a live context and not saying some dumb stuff in like a heat of a moment, and we're trying to like focus. And let's be honest, Twitch chat sometimes isn't the most stimulating group of people. Or let me rephrase this: they're not the most.
You heard Sadomi. Y'all suck.
He doesn't like chat.
Yeah.
You should go chat in the stream a lot. You should go talk in the stream.
Listen. How Jambo knows that you get that one guy who's like, "Hey, my name starts with ice."
Yeah.
And so being able to like catch that and not be like, "Hi, I hate your name. Cool, I'll see you later. Bye bye."
You've got to say it. You have to use your power. You just have to be like, ice. I don't know if I can say it right here, but
I think we all know what you're getting at.
Yeah. You just have to say, always say it. Always say it to them, because like they're not gonna, like, the more flustered that you get, like the more they, as people like to say, the more they win, because it's a contest, I guess. But I guess we've had a big influx of trolls recently. Any of my mods that are in here will be able to tell you. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but the dong awareness spam that's been going around.
That's a real thing.
My mods have banned like 600 of those accounts offline and online. Like, because they've been coming in. Yep. They've been coming in and spamming like text pictures of dongs and saying dong awareness. One time we banned all of the words they could possibly use, like dong and whatever else. So they just came in and spammed the word awareness in chat because they're so desperate to like get into chat. All they said, they just said awareness. It's like the actual worst trolling I have ever seen.
Oh my God.
I could not get over it.
What are we trying to be aware of? Just being aware of awareness. All right.
Just please be awareness. Be awareness.
Dude, those 5 people.
Dude, it's wild. It's wild what people will do to get attention in a freaking Twitch stream. Like that guy who came into my stream and told me he was my biggest fan and he was in love with me. And then told me like he took my mom to the zoo or whatever he said.
Oh, like, yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm trading your mom at the zoo. Okay. Weird flex. I don't know what that means.
Good one.
Wait, can you trade mothers at zoos? What?
Good one. How's she doing?
Yeah, trolls are something else. Trolls are definitely something else. And yeah, I definitely noticed that you've been getting a lot of them. There's also this guy named Velok who will like just say really crappy. Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah, he comes in and he gifts subs to all poop related accounts. Like, what was it? Poop fart butt princess.
Poop fart butt princess.
I'm not proud.
Poop fart,
but I am happy.
He did. He started a hype train in chat one day because he gifted a sub to poop fart, and it started a hype train.
Yep, that's the thing that happened. You should go to Jambo's stream sometime, chat, and you'll have a good time.
I'm not live today.
Every time. Well, she is. She's definitely live today. After this, actually, play with Jambo on Twitch. There you go.
Lonely cry of an imprisoned turd.
Oh Lord, that got real deep.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so I think that's going to be. I don't think we have any more questions or callers or anything. All right, so we'll do the sign-offs for everybody. We'll start with Senior Rob. Where can people find you? Why should they find you? And yeah.
If you want to look at this face on stream, That's why you should come by the stream, because otherwise it's just going to be me sitting there talking to no one and myself probably. Twitch.tv/Rob Busey, just like my name down below is basically everything is Rob Busey, because discoverability, and it was really weird to have everything else under Rob Busey and then have my name as King Robu on Twitch. Nobody really got, so that's fine. But yeah, come hang out. I usually stream on the weekends because obviously 9 to 5 jobs and children and stuff. So
9 to whenever jobs and children. Miss Jambo, where can people find you, and why should they find you?
You shouldn't find me, but you can find me at twitch.tv/playwithjambo. Definitely not at noon today in 6 minutes.
Definitely not at the specific time immediately after this is over. Weird.
It's not happening.
Nope, definitely not. All right, well, there you go. Sadomi, my God, the awesome co-host. Thanks again, my dude.
Thank you for having me on. I love being here with you. And also, our 2 guests were awesome today. Yep. Rob and Jambo, both of you. I love both of you. You guys are awesome.
Rob, you did great.
Thank you for having me.
So good. Backwards hat and all.
I love it. And to answer Vel's question on the Twitch Prime channel, my forehead goes all the way back.
I was spamming Rob's hot on the Twitch Prime channel one time, and then I said, "How far do you think Rob's forehead goes?" And then I got timed out from the moderators.
Yeah, they were a little aggressive that day.
Did you gift a sub to Rob's forehead?
I wish. You can't gift subs. You can't do any subs on the Twitch Prime channel, which I think is weird because it's a Twitch Prime channel. But anyway,
it's a hype train.
Oh my God, dude.
It's also a little weird to monetize that channel.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sadomi, where can people find you, and why should they find you?
Okay, anyway, so I'm Sadomi. I do a lot of news coverage and deep talks about the gaming industry and the streaming industry. And today we're talking about E3 because I'm not sure what they're going to do in the next 5 years. So yeah, they'll be live. Yeah, they'll be live at 2 p.m. EST. In other words, an hour from now. So I'll see you guys there.
There you go. All right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. The guests were awesome as always. And looks like we're about to hit level 2 for this hype train. Interesting. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to another episode of StreamKey. You guys are insane. We'll be back next week, Monday morning, 11 a.m. EST as always. Love you guys. And as always, Sadomi.
Blaze it.
There you go. Take it easy, guys. Thanks again.